Hey, welcome to the next Red Orbitu webinar. This is the first webinar we are doing in English, so please bear with me. I hope everything goes well. As I said already in the chat, you can ask questions in Slovenia as well. I'll try to translate it for our guests. And please ask a lot of questions because we have two great guests today with us. Today we are going to talk about current trends, current development in the digital advertising PPC. We have Sharunas and Momchulo with us. They're both seasoned experts, years of experience on different industries, different platforms. On digital, Sharunas is from HTT Pool representing LinkedIn, and Momchulo is from Google representing Google and YouTube and other platforms that Google owns. What we have seen in the last 2 or so months is that the digital landscape changed quite a lot. What our analysis and our service that we did around a month ago showed that a lot of advertisers stopped the advertising. So I think 16% of advertisers stopped completely all digital activities. On the other hand, 16% of them increased their budgets. The rest are somehow in between. And we are launching a new pool or the same pool today as well. So you will see it right away on the right-hand side. We want to see if this situation changed since we did the last pool in the beginning of April. So you can now actually start answering the pool, and we at the end will comment on the results. What else? So not only that advertising budgets changed, the whole industry changed. So a lot of industries are going down, lots of industries are going up in terms of searches, in terms of advertising, and a lot of users change their behaviors as well. So these are the questions, the topics that we will try to cover today. We'll compare Slovenia to other countries in Europe as well, and so on. So thank you again, guys, for joining me today. As I said, you have lots of experience from different platforms, from years of experience on working with clients and agencies. So I'm just eager to see and to hear what you will share with us. Maybe the first question that I would like to ask both of you is, what are you seeing on both of your end, your platforms, your companies? What are the trends that you're noticing on user perspective or on the advertising budgets, let's company perspective as well?
Sharunas, do you want to start maybe?
Oh, no problem. So actually from LinkedIn side, the quarter started really good. So we noticed the growth, yeah, and definitely when lockdown started, actually you can expect the growth because we're spending more time at home, we're spending more time on internet. But actually I have really interesting data from Lithuania. One of the biggest Lithuanian telco, they looked at the data usage, and actually it was incredibly LinkedIn growth of LinkedIn usage in Lithuania. It's 680%.
Whoa.
February in comparison to March. Yeah. So actually two platforms in Lithuania, it's LinkedIn and Zoom. They had 7 times growth. It's incredible number. And definitely you mentioned the user behavior. So actually during those 2 months, the behavior changed. And what happened, so definitely the lockdown means that actually it's about 2,000 unemployees in Lithuania per day. Yeah. So definitely people started looking for new opportunities, LinkedIn profile, etc., etc. Also LinkedIn Learning. Actually, it's a general trend. Learning platform, we can see the growth to 100%, yeah, globally. Also, we started to use LinkedIn Messenger, in-mail, sponsored in-mails. Actually, it was also big growth. But probably the biggest reason is that actually active LinkedIn users, they started to use LinkedIn even more active. So the main reason, actually, probably you know that LinkedIn a few years ago changed the positioning, and now it's business content platform. So actually people coming back a few times per day to LinkedIn, spending more time, the growth of session because they're finding interesting content, because they're finding interesting news. That's the main reason of the growth of LinkedIn. And actually, now we can see that this new positioning business content platform really working. So, and I don't believe that, Lithuania it's an exception. I believe that similar trend in all Central and Eastern European markets, and actually in Balkans, I believe you had really similar growth of this platform. So that's the main feedback.
Great, thank you.
I have to say, as a user, I definitely started also looking at LinkedIn more as a news platform, because I somehow find the content there more, the source is more reliable compared to some, let's say, other news platforms.
Yeah.
So definitely in line with that. Not looking for a new job for now. So, but for the news side, I'm definitely more on LinkedIn.
And really interesting, it's if you're counting, percentage, how many posts about it's job related and it's content and business related, so it's 1 to 15. So definitely, LinkedIn, it's anymore just a platform that connecting job seekers with employees and actually with companies. Actually, it's a business content platform. It's a main news channel. Definitely.
Yeah. And definitely evolving in a good direction, I would say. When it comes to Google, I think we saw let's first say what are 3 key platforms: search, of course, then display network and YouTube. So of course, when people are spending more time at home and in these times of uncertainty, they are turning more to the source of information, as the same as they're turning to LinkedIn, which is let's say evolving. In that case, they're turning to search, Google search, as one of the key ways to learn more about what's going on in the world and to find new information about COVID-19 itself, about the situation in different countries, etc. Sorry, are you seeing?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had a small disconnect. We see when it comes to display network, we're in constant touch with our publishers, and because the visits to all news portals and in general portals is booming, we see also a huge increase in the reach in Google Display Network and of course YouTube. I would say now that people are locking down. We know what's going on with Netflix, so you can also imagine what's going on with YouTube. We have a huge increase in watch time hours across the world, and I would say here that compared to some other data about Slovenia, which we will touch upon later, Slovenia has one of the highest increase in YouTube watch hours in Europe.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really, I was really surprised, honestly, because it's not that visible in other behaviors in Slovenia. But for YouTube, the jump in the watch time I would just say it almost doubled.
I would add from the same research, actually we received data from that telco company about data usage. What's really interesting, that Spotify usage dropped, and at home people not listening Spotify, but they listening music through YouTube. So it's because Spotify is really related when we going to gym, we're going to the work in the park. It's Spotify. But during lockdown, people listening music through YouTube more.
So we might conclude that Spotify is on-the-go media.
Looks like.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
So I think both what you both said about changes in user behavior is kind of natural. So what you, Sharuna, said is people going to LinkedIn and as well maybe on Google searching for COVID news is just we are anxious to know what's going on. On the other hand, we trust, in my opinion, we trust our peers, our friends on LinkedIn much more than general news, which could be somehow strange, let's say it like that. On the other hand, and I would like you guys to comment on that. On the other hand, prior to the crisis, prior to the outbreak, there was a huge, let's say, market mix that companies could use. There was TV, there was out-of-door advertising, radio, magazines, and so on, cinema advertising, and so on. But now our lives actually switched online. So it's kind of natural to expect that, of course, the usage of all the mediums that you were actually mentioning increased. But did you see any trends about increasing the budget? So what's your view about marketing mix in terms of where investment went prior to the outbreak and where do investments go now?
It's a really good question, and actually what we noticed, what LinkedIn did, they organized 1 week after lockdown, they organized joint webinar to the partners, and they invited Italian partners to share their experience because they were already 3 weeks in lockdown. So the first message was that what happened in Italy, that first week everything stopped on pause, and after second week, the clients, they started to come back. And it was really great message. And we noticed the same trend in all over the Europe. So actually the first reaction, you're stopping. And after that, you revising everything and looking for new opportunities. So what happened in LinkedIn, a really interesting trend, even if you actually don't have ready, you don't have confirmed budget, if you don't have marketing strategy, on LinkedIn have really impressive organic. We noticed usage of LinkedIn organic, and when we talking about marketing budget, a lot of community building campaigns. So what does it mean? Actually, the bigger community you have on LinkedIn, the more followers you have, the bigger reach you can have, And during this period, we have a lot of community building and followers campaigns. And when the lockdown went out, those companies, they can communicate with those followers organically. So if you don't know what to do right now, if you're still building new strategy, it's a real good momentum for community building. And it's really interesting trend because we have a lot of follower campaigns just to build the right community on LinkedIn.
And maybe to compensate with the lost reach on the offline media, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah. So I would just add up on what Sharon said about, we had a very similar, let's say, classification of the behavior. So it first came as an initial shock to everyone. And then afterwards it followed in the period that we are right now, like the period of adjustment, when we are starting to getting used to this like new normal, and we already formed certain habits. And now what's awaiting for us probably is the period of, let's say, acceleration of those habits and seeing how will they react and like how will they evolve. And depending, of course, are we going to have the second wave or not? I mean, just because now the restrictions are softened doesn't mean, I really hope and believe that, well, let's say hope that it will all go right from now. But we might go back to the adjustment again. And I think that depends a lot from the shock to adjustment, and adjustment how the companies have reacted and how have they shifted their budgets, to say. I think it depends a lot on what's going on, how the company financially suffered. On one hand, like, because we know some industries suffered more than others, and some, let's say, we have like industries that definitely suffered, like tourism, and that's the case. We have e-commerce on the other hand, which is not suffering that much, and that I think is very important for them to how they're shifting their budgets currently. Then we have a lot of industries in between, which that profiled now themselves a lot, with whom we worked a lot on their media spend, that managed to pivot and to adjust to the situation, to, let's say, make the best out of it, although it's not naturally their field or their, let's say, their best situation. When it comes to offline spend, I think we saw a lot of shifts to digital from out of home.
Okay.
Definitely. Out of home and print, from TV. In a way, I mean, to be fair, now people are at home watching TV. They're still watching TV a lot. Not as, I mean, there is not as increase as in YouTube. We saw like this huge amount of increase really helped us gain, let's say, people understanding more what's going on. But I would say also that it's a bit difficult to shift some offline budgets, because we know that TV in the Balkans has usually very good relationships with the advertisers, very good kickback deals.
Yeah.
So I would say that's maybe what sometimes slows down the digital revolution in our area,
in the region. So yeah, let's say I agree with that. TV strings still growing strong in the region, especially in Slovenia as well. But one question was from our audience, and maybe to expand it. So David is asking, momchally you, but I think LinkedIn can somehow comment on that as well. So which advertising do you recommend at the moment for raising brand awareness? Maybe to extend the question, a lot of companies were forced to go online now, otherwise they would be basically, they would go bust. So if you're a new company, or if you haven't done any brand building, brand awareness campaigns in the past, what are the best approaches to do to build your brand online currently?
Okay, I would say here it definitely depends on the industry. And I would say definitely depends on what's your market strategy, what's your type of product, and how well do you know your audience. So if you are just if you're a company that is, let's say, more traditionally oriented, I would say first switch to YouTube as the first thing, and then start to figure out later on what to do the rest, because usually YouTube is the, let's say, safest replacement for print and TV. But if you have, let's say, if you have your strategy, audience strategy further developed, then I would say if you have high intent products, let's say products that are very prone to search, meaning that people already are actively looking to buy and are in big need of this case, in this situation, definitely invest in search. If you have, if you're e-commerce, I would say even before YouTube, I would go on display. I mean, there is YouTube for performance, of course, but now I would do a mix of awareness and performance, for example, for e-commerces, because we need immediate results in this case, and everyone needs a channel that will bring them also immediate results together with awareness.
What about custom intent on YouTube and custom audience on YouTube based on the, let's say, the database of emails, or maybe based on searches that people made? Is that something that you would recommend doing for?
Yes, definitely. So if you have first party data, I would say definitely use them on all three platforms, on GDN, on YouTube, on search, and try to find, let's say, are you looking for awareness? Well, in a type of awareness, are you looking for completely new audiences? Then go as broad as possible. So let's say the top of the funnel. Then if you have, like, say, medium-sized investments, and if you are looking for similar audiences as you have, then definitely upload your first-party data, and we have an option for this thing called similar audiences, in which they will find your audiences, and then they will find the benchmark of people who behave similarly and have similar intents. So in that way, you can, let's say, you'll have slightly more precise targeting. So your brand awareness will be amongst the people that matters the most to your brand.
Yeah, I totally agree with what was said about YouTube, and what I like here, this, in general, video part. A few examples what LinkedIn launched during the last few months. Actually, LinkedIn, I mentioned community building campaigns really related with followers, and LinkedIn launched LinkedIn Live. LinkedIn Live, it means that actually all your followers receiving, automatic notification about a live. So LinkedIn launched live. Last week, LinkedIn launched stories in Brazil. LinkedIn launched a video button. Actually, separately, you can see videos. So actually, video as a format also trending on LinkedIn. And actually, it was really good momentum. It was planned launch to LinkedIn. And it was actually really good momentum because people spending more time, on the platform. So now video on all the video tools actually trending on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I totally agree with what Momchal mentioned earlier. So video is a huge opportunity in Slovenia, in the region, compared to, in my opinion, and what I'm saying, compared to the rest of the Europe, Slovenia and Balkans are really behind of using video as an advertising tool, not advertising but marketing tool, let's say. Not just
I would say Slovenia specifically, to be fair.
Yeah, Slovenia is like a
specifically,
small country dominated by 2 or 3 large TV stations, and you can basically reach a lot of people by advertising on those stations. And because we are a small nation, it's not that expensive compared to what you need to pay in UK, let's say. So I think we are somehow quite a few years behind the Western world. But on the other hand, there's again huge opportunity. I think TikTok is a great example. TikTok is, in my opinion, YouTube could be educational. TikTok is waste of time. I didn't. It's a great way.
Andres, I think we are in the age in which we cannot necessarily understand
that. Yeah, I agree.
Personally, I mean, professionally we can, but personally, I don't think we. There are
totally
great videos of 30+ on TikTok, and
but I actually use TikTok.
Guys, do you know that in China they have 5 hours limit for TikTok? After 5 hours, it's they're using TikTok 5 hours per day.
But anyway, let's go back from TikTok and commenting. We are too old to use TikTok, I guess, although I still use it because it's like, wow. But in terms of...
No, to understand, not to use it. Everyone can use it.
Yeah. Video is great. We are not using it enough in marketing and advertising. And as on TV, which is still one of the largest, let's say, the largest share in marketing budgets, video is the only format they are using. So, and historically from 60s or 50s in last century, TV was used with online TV advertising, to build brand awareness, to launch brands, to build top of mind. Why are we not using online video the same way? And how can we start using online video on YouTube or LinkedIn or maybe TikTok? But anyway, how can we start using online video for building brand awareness? Because in my opinion, it's going to be crucial, not fighting with TV as a channel, but there will be a lot of people who are not using TV anymore, not watching TV anymore because of younger population. I don't own a TV for the last 10 years, so I haven't seen any ads on TV for the last 10 years. So online is the only channel when you can reach me with video. So how can we build awareness through video online?
Oh, Anders, you touched on my favorite topic. I'm a huge fan of YouTube because I come from FMCG industry, by the way. So I spent 7 and something years in FMCG. And really, I wish I knew, when I came to Google and learned some things about YouTube, I wish I knew them before as a brand manager. So I think one of the first things is yes, TV is still strong in our region, and let's be fair. And there are some good reasons for it. And we always say to the advertisers who are strong on TV, add online video at the beginning as in parallel with TV. So run TV and online for them to reach to get incremental reach. Because we did some studies in Serbia and Croatia. Unfortunately, we were not able to do it in Slovenia, but I would say would be rather similar. That you get approximately 15% additional reach if you run the same campaign on YouTube and TV, because TV covers relatively older audience, and I would say especially compared to the online platforms. LinkedIn, YouTube, all others, like even in Instagram, Facebook, etc. Well, Facebook now not anymore, but you're getting people who are not on TV, which is very important. And you're getting people who are also more prone to building brand awareness because they're younger and, let's say, hungrier in a way for brands. And one of the things that I say we maybe as a region, but I say maybe Slovenia here might be more advanced than the rest of the region, is to get excited about right measurement. So one of the things why TV, we know why TV is winning so much is because it has also very oversimplified and standardized measurement, which is easy to report and easy to understand. But once you get excited about measurement, this is where the results start coming in. Once you're able to set the right KPIs, and to have, let's say, a business partner who would help you understand those KPIs, you will see companies will see much better results. I mean, once companies start following more conversions, figuring out what's happening with the ad, like because TV is in a way TV and print are one of the easiest ways to communicate. You just put your ad over there, and you have no idea what actually happened with it. While if you put your video on platforms like LinkedIn, for example, you definitely see the engagement. If you, I mean, I'm not sure about measurement on LinkedIn, but I'm sure it's definitely way more advanced than on TV. Or if you put them on YouTube, and you see all the options that you can, how can you play with the audiences? How can you play with the effects? How can you play with what audience is going to do after watching your video? Is when you understand what the actual, let's say, this beautiful, I mean, I call it beautiful because I come from brand management, like this beautiful brand building and more effective building comes up.
Yeah.
So totally agree about measurement, and yeah, in LinkedIn you can measure according industry, company, skills, titles, etc. But one more thing about TV, actually, first time, we in LinkedIn we started TV advertising campaigns. TV started advertise their new programs. And actually, it was really crazy. It's new vertical. TVs and media, they unlocked LinkedIn during lockdown.
Yeah, so we have the same. Yeah.
So it was for us. It was almost first time. So we can if we're talking about verticals, yeah. So definitely. So in LinkedIn, the most advanced vertical probably is aviation. So definitely stopped, yeah. Also, everything what's related with real estate, with automotive, almost stopped. But actually, we unlocked new verticals like media, like medicine, actually, and pharmaceuticals. So yeah, we can see changes when we're speaking about verticals, and actually, and media and TV they reacted. They reacted to those new changes.
Okay, guys, you will hate me for this question. It's my favorite question for you guys, but you will hate me. What's going on with CPCs? Are they going up? Are they going down? Yes or no?
Actually, you wrote this question before, so I'm prepared. CPCs almost stay the same. Almost. Okay. Yeah, and it's related, I think LinkedIn is really similar to Google because actually it's a bit, yeah. It's a bit, and it depends how many advertisers we have. So advertisers still thinking, and they actually we can't say that actually the usage we have the growth of usage, but advertisers still thinking. But what actually we noticed with the pricing in LinkedIn, for example, I mentioned this. That TV started campaigns, yeah? TV channels. So SCPV in LinkedIn, with one campaign, we had 2 cents per view on LinkedIn. With another campaign, we had 3 cents for SCPV. So the cost per video format actually dropped down significantly. And actually, it's really good news for LinkedIn, because probably some of us still know that it's not a cheap channel, yeah. But if we can have, cheap SCPV, now it's much more stronger position for branding.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Anders, some things I cannot comment publicly.
Okay.
But I think what Shona said, I can give you a perspective, because it's a bidding area, so there are no fixed prices. At least not in our region. We don't have these options or reservations. So you can imagine from the perspective of CPM and CPV, if the reach has significantly increased, how that impacted the auction. Because I mean, it's if you look from the perspective of demand and supply. So if your options for reach have significantly increased, if there's much more space for ads, you can imagine how that impacted CPMs and CPVs.
Yeah.
When it comes to CPC, it significantly differs. I would say significantly differs per industry. And I would say here is where we saw the beauty of automation, and where we saw, especially with our partners, with agencies, and I mean companies who are investing directly, how they manage to progress so much thanks to automation. Because when user behavior changes so much, and with advertiser behavior changes so much, manual bidding, we don't know what's going on. Like if you're setting up a manual bidding, you got used to the bidding behavior from the last few years. But if you're in a situation which you have no idea how your competitors will behave, how consumers are changing the behavior, is the automation that helps bring the best results. So that's why it's difficult to measure CPCs in overall.
Because my opinion was the opposite. So
really,
the opposite. I have a strange feeling about it. So automation is great. Automation uses lots of data and can process lots of data much faster than any human being can do it. And of course, machine learning can find, let's say, trends that we wouldn't otherwise see. But like you said, things are changing so rapidly, and machine learning needs a bit of time to learn from the data, from the past data. Isn't it the changes are not the changes too fast to actually for automation to kick in and be successful? Do you think still automation is the right answer in this time?
Definitely, because the beauty of machine learning is that the more data it gets, the better it gets. So the good thing is we didn't start machine learning 6 months ago. Automation started quite a few years ago. And even before this crisis, we have less and less, let's say, requirements to start automated bidding. For many of the versions, you don't even have to wait for a certain amount of conversions anymore. You can just start it. Let's say if these new changes again help us improve machine learning, because it got used to the completely new setups which it hasn't been exposed before. And if you have machine learning that has, let's say, insight into what's going on in the whole platform, you can imagine that it gets adjusted and adapted way quicker than a person who does it manually and doesn't have an insight into what's going on in the rest of the bits.
Okay. We touched this topic a bit quick earlier in our conversation. How is Slovenia doing in comparison to the rest of Europe in terms of behavior, in terms of what businesses are doing, and so on?
I can give you an example from LinkedIn users' perspective. Yeah, in Slovenia we have, correct me, about 1 million social media users. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's about 350,000 LinkedIn users. It's about 30%.
Okay.
Or even 31. Yeah. So it's in comparison, for example, to Hungary, it's only 15% of social media users using LinkedIn. But in Italy, it's already 40%. In Germany and Scandinavia, it's 50%. And in United Kingdom, it's more than 60%, and Canada and US is more than 70. It's about 70%. So actually, you see that as you mentioned, the Western trends a little bit higher, yeah,
yeah,
especially US and Canada, but it's really close to Italy, and actually with the same trend, I think in 1 or 2 years it will be really similar numbers in Europe, and after that probably we will have really similar numbers in 2 years, in 3 years, like in US and Canada, about members and about the usage.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Google and this whole situation, like this crisis that we went through, because I work directly with Serbia, Croatia, and Slovenia, I would say like I observed markets from a few different perspectives. To start from, let's say, business perspective, our partners in Slovenia, I would say, were by far the most agile in the whole region. And we kind of see that in a way also in a search behavior, that everyone entered a bit, let's say, more cold-headed into the whole story. It was all like, okay, so the crisis is now here. Eventually, it's going to pass. So what can we do to be sure that we exit this situation in the best way that we can? And I was analyzing a few verticals, how verticals that know globally are most affected, both positive and negative. And I compared Slovenia to all its neighboring countries, like both east, west, north, south, except Italy, because it's very specific situation there. And I was like, God, like Slovenians are so, compared to everyone else, so more cold-headed. Like, okay, like we're living our lives, we're searching for the things, we're in general searching, like very, very small impact compared to every other country, especially to Austria, I would say. So on YouTube, on the other hand, we saw the best, by far the biggest change in the behavior of the jump of the YouTube usage. And I would say when it comes to the companies and the media investments, from one side we saw a very big like very agile perspective of agencies and very agile perspective of exporters, and some retailers who shifted very quickly. But for example, from let's say more traditional media spenders, we saw smaller shifts in Slovenia compared to Croatia and Serbia.
Okay.
When it comes to FMCG, to telcos specifically, I would say we didn't see such a big shift as, for example, as in other markets. So they were, I would say, advertisers in Slovenia were maybe less prone to change. Big advertisers, not small agile ones. So the small agile ones are much quicker in Slovenia than in the rest of the region, but the big traditional media spenders are less, were definitely less adaptable to what's going on.
Okay, just a quick reminder for everybody listening in to answer our survey that we can comment on the results in a few minutes. Back to Momcilo, what we are seeing in the telco industry in Slovenia is basically all the industries except, of course, travel in Slovenia had a huge increase in volume of users coming to the website, and of course increase in terms of online revenue and stuff like that, which is kind of normal, especially in telco as well. What we have noticed is that the average order value dropped across the industry, basically, but number of transactions increased, number of transactions per user. So that's one possible way to see how industries are doing. But speaking about travel, there was a great question from Petra earlier. What's your recommendation about the travel industry based on the current situation? What channels to use? How to proceed with advertising? What kind of database? Should they start building databases of users and so on and so on?
Yeah, I mean, travel is definitely one of our focuses in this region. I would say it's a really good question now. Be present on search for sure. Be present on search, because people are looking for. I mean, we saw a huge decline in interest for our region, and for every region in the world at one moment. But we also saw a very slow and steady comeback in the last few weeks for Slovenia and Croatia. And I would say be there for people who are interested in it, and be very helpful with your websites. Be flexible if you have opportunity. Be flexible with cancellations. Be very informative on your website of what's going on. Keep people, if you have options of newsletters, to keep people posted on what people are interested in, what's going on with the borders, what's going on with accepting people, how will it go. So like try to be very helpful to the people, because they will remember it. Being helpful, being assistive is extremely important.
And they are waiting for this news, actually.
Exactly.
Because with LinkedIn, it's a community building plus good news about the borders. With tourism market already, we see first signs that actually from Greece, that they're planning to open, from Prague announced, that actually. So actually, people waiting for this type of news, and actually some platform. And LinkedIn here is becoming part of news platform. It's really good for that.
Yeah.
Okay, the second question.
Anders, what we think about tourism, because it's super important for Slovenia, I know. I would say if you have opportunity, because I'm not sure how much are we hit by investments, be present for brand awareness on YouTube. Because now it's the time to also to build the love. And to build brand love and destination love for people, because we're all sitting at home longing for the opportunity to travel.
Yeah, especially that you have this love.
Slovenia. It's like use it. It's one of the best logos ever.
That's how we see it from the outside. We are running out of time, so a quick question for you, Šarūnas. The second industry that was hugely impacted by Corona outbreak was actually B2B industries. The industry is actually relying on fairs and conferences to go out there, present their tools, their solutions, and do some contacts, make some contacts, lead generation, and so on. Now everybody's turning to digital as a #1 channel. So what's your recommendation? How to use LinkedIn in a short answer to generate leads for B2B?
Actually, what happened in last quarter, LinkedIn launched events for companies. Previously, it was only from your personal profile. From last quarter, you can do it from your company page. So events on LinkedIn plus LinkedIn Live plus live option plus video option we have in LinkedIn. Maybe we don't know yet officially, but I believe that next quarter we will have stories on LinkedIn. So all this complex, but actually remember that we have LinkedIn event opportunity. So during this lockdown, just test it, and actually I believe for B2B events, actually it will be the main event platform for already this year.
Okay, we are running out of time, so we are organizing another webinar, I think next week, advanced Google advertising, where we'll talk about more specifically pixels, bidding, automation bidding, attribution, YouTube and stuff like that. So you can find the link to the webinar on the right side under offers, and you can apply now. Meanwhile, when you can apply for the when you are applying for the webinar, we can comment on our service. So we asked you, how did your digital advertising budget change in comparison to the prior of the COVID-19 outbreak? So I'm just looking at my opposite screen to compare it with the results from 1 month ago. So 1 month ago, 16% of you said that you increased the budget. Now we are up to 30%. Budget staying the same, 33% 1 month ago. Now we are 42%. Decreased 35 to only 20% today, and stopped everything 14% 1 month ago. Now we are on 6%. So in general, budgets are coming back and they are increasing. So quick answer, what's your take on that, you guys?
I would say it's quite normal, and I would say it's again going back to Slovenian agility and pragmatism.
And from another perspective, guys, be brave, experiment. It's good time. It's good time to experiment. It's good time unlock something new.
Okay.
Measure.
Really important. And I think we will need to organize additional webinar about measurement, because we had a couple of questions about attribution, about personal usage of personal data and measurement across different stages of the funnel, from Anya and Luca and so on. But sadly, today we are out of time. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, Momchilo. Thank you, Sharunas, that you were willing to contribute today. And
Slovenia.
And thank you all for coming today. And goodbye. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.